We're live. Hello, Internet. Hello, everyone watching. Welcome back to another episode of the Great Movie Ride live stream. My name is Matt, and I have 2 degrees. And I'm so glad to see that 0 of you have showed up so far. This is really exciting. So, welcome back to another edition of the Great Movie Ride live stream. For the last 12-ish weeks, we got 1 viewer. Yes, for the last 12-ish weeks, we have been... Sorry, I'm checking the messages here. Yes, so for the last 12 weeks, we've been watching our way through all of the films that made up the now extinct Disney Parks attraction, The Great Movie Ride. And then for some of the better movies, we've been coming together for a live stream to discuss them. And this week is extra exciting because this week was Indiana Jones week, aka the Snake movie. Why did it have to be snakes? I don't know. There we go. So we're going to bring in our panelists for the day. And as per usual, friends, you're going to introduce yourself, tell us your name, tell us your channel, and if you put out a video for Indiana Jones today, tell us what the video is about. Here we go. We are going to start with fan favorite Lauren from Castles, Capes, and Clones.
Hello.
Lauren, welcome back to another episode.
Thank you very much. I'm so excited to discuss this film.
Oh, me too. It's a really fun one. So for anyone watching who might not know your channel, same thing as usual. Tell us a little bit about what we can expect to see on your channel and what you did for Indiana Jones today.
Yeah, so with Castles, Capes, and Clones, we discuss everything in the Disney universe. We do a lot of unboxings, hauls, pins, news, and reviews. So with this particular collaboration, as I have with the other films that I've been involved with in this collaboration, is that I've just been doodling along, not doodling along to the film, but talking about the film while doodling. This is something like you would do, the chicken scratch that you would do while on the phone.
Delightful. And I just love seeing the moments that you choose to immortalize in a Lauren drawing. I was waiting for the boulder drawing and it did not disappoint, I will say. And the face melting drawing. Loved it.
Of course, so yes. So those are the 2 perhaps most iconic moments for me.
Yeah, definitely. It was just so many iconic moments, but I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. Okay, we're going to bring in our next channels for today. We have our friends from Theme Park Vets, or Tpv Misc. Hello, friends. Thanks for joining us. So, yeah, same thing. Tell us a little bit about your channel and about what you did for Indiana Jones today.
My name is Tpv Misc, like you said, and we do a whole bunch of different fandom videos, like Universal Disney related type videos, and we made a cake. So
nice.
Kind of made Indiana Jones thing.
Oh, it turned out all right.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to watch the full video yet, but I skipped ahead. I saw part of the finished product. I didn't want to spoil the finished cake, but it looked really good, and it really made me want cake. So thank you for that, because I'm probably going to make a cake after this. Oh, we got Martha. Hello, Martha. Thank you for watching. #1 fan. There we go. And last but not least, we're going to bring in Mike from the Hydeland fam. No, not the Hydeland family. From the Hydeland Adventures. I'm just like, who is this new channel? So who are you, stranger? What is this channel that I've never heard of before? Wink, wink.
So I'm Mike, formerly the Hyde's Do Disney, now the Hydeland Adventures. So we made a change on Monday, actually, to just a new channel name, kind of broadcasting and venturing out past the Disney sphere, because we're now natives to Florida. So we just want to venture out and see other things and show you guys some other cool stuff that we've been doing. So stay tuned. There's a bunch of videos lined up. Unfortunately, I didn't get a video done for today. I had something that I had planned, but it didn't work out. I wasn't able to find all the pieces and parts.
What was it kind of nerdy stuff? Just like the alien video that I'm still imagining with the chicken face.
That's still an idea. So I like to do sim racing. So I was actually going to see if I could find a simulated version of the truck, which is a German. It's a Mercedes LS 3000 from 1939, and I found one, but I didn't have the game. I tried to find other versions of it. I play a game called Beam NG, which is a sandbox game where it actually models car physics, and you can crash them, and they go all over the place. And I found one, and I kind of tinkered around with it, but the audio was so awful that I couldn't put it together and put out a video. It was just so bad, the audio of the vehicle. So maybe I'll find something if I can find one, and I'll make a cool video about driving the Indiana Jones truck and see how fast I can go around a dirt path.
I would love that. Oh, it's so much fun. Action, adventure, Indiana Jones. Let's talk about the movie. Now, was this anyone's first time ever watching the movie? You're like, no. Delightful. I think this is the first movie that everyone
Probably.
went into having watched.
Not the first time.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. And we've got another friend. Hello, Mike. How are you doing this?
Yeah.
I'm everywhere.
You're so talented. I feel like it's probably Amanda. Hi, Amanda.
Skynet.
Fun. All right, so
I see.
Yeah, let's discuss this movie. So since it wasn't anyone's first time ever watching the movie, first off, I want to ask: does anyone remember the first time you did watch the movie? Or let's talk a little bit about your history with the film. I know it's a big deal to a lot of people's childhoods and their history. I'm not one of those people. Like, I had seen it before, but I didn't watch it till I was probably a teenager, if not a little bit older, because for whatever reason, it never really interested me growing up. I don't know why. And then even as a teenager watching it, I was like, this is kind of okay. It's kind of fun. And that's kind of still where I sit now. Like, it's a fun movie. But I feel like there are more fun movies out there. Like Back to the Future. Out of all those movies that are kind of like from that era that have a similar cult following and are genre movies, Back to the Future is like my go-to one. And I've slowly started to appreciate like the Star Wars is and the Indiana Joneses is in my older age. I don't know why. I feel like it's opposite for most people. They love it as kids, and then they get older, then move away from it. But no, I gravitate to it as I get older. So there it is. Lauren, how about you? Do you remember the first time you saw this movie?
I mean, I don't remember the exact first time I saw the movie, but I know that I saw it when it first came out. Because anything that had Steven Spielberg or George Lucas on it, I was there opening weekend. So I know that I was there. I just can't remember. It's been so long that and we had been talking earlier about how I forgot how good the movie was. Like, I know that I knew I was going to like the film. Like, I there was no doubt in my mind, but I just forgot how good it was until we watched it, and I really, really enjoyed it.
Definitely. Was there anything that stood out to you this rewatch specifically that you hadn't noticed before or that you enjoyed more?
You know, I forgot about the womanizing of Indiana Jones with Marion Ravenswood, and I thought, boy, that probably would not sit as well in today's audiences. So that was something that's kind of hit me, but at the same time, it's like going to a bygone era anyway, so it didn't bother me as much.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's always sort of been a thing with the Indiana Jones movies is because they're meant to be a throwback to like 30s and 40s style entertainment. They're a little less PC, especially I think even for the time at which they were made. Because I was watching an interview with, I think her name is Kim Capshaw. Is that the girl in the second movie / Spielberg's wife? Yeah, and she was talking about how when the movie came out, like all the feminist groups were getting angry at her, not her, but her character for being so annoying, basically, and just screaming the entire movie. And she said, oh, I just loved it because I felt like I was playing a caricature of that type of person, which I agree with. Like, I agree with that because I think her character is so much fun. And she's largely the reason I think Temple of Doom is actually my favorite movie because I think she's so hilarious and so good. But we'll discuss Temple of Doom maybe later. Today's all about Raiders. Yay. Tammy and Mike, how about you? Any memories for the first time you saw the movie or anything new that you noticed this rewatch?
Well, I don't remember the first time I saw it.
Well, I remember watching it as a kid on cable. And, well, of course, the classic, trying to use the whip like against your little brother. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, is that a thing that people with siblings did? They tried to whip their siblings?
Oh, yeah. I would Mike on this one.
We had to whip each other. It's because we were both trying to do it. And it's like, you know what? It's like we were young and stupid, but, as normal kids are. But what I noticed this time around, I just noticed how much it reminded me of how, especially when he went under the truck, it's like, and I realized, wait a minute, they've done that in like Old West with the stagecoaches, so I saw just how much of the movie serials, it really did. It caught my attention more than now that I know about it. It's like, whoa, and the whole switcheroo with the basket. But unlike the movie serials, he had to duck around the corner, so they could have done it when they were shooting at him. So it wasn't a fake out. You could actually tell that there was a possibility.
Oh yeah, no, I think they kind of set up the moments where if it was a legit serial, they definitely would have been fake out moments. But I think Spielberg and Lucas kind of knew how frustrating those were, so they just narrowly evaded them because they didn't want Kathy Bates screaming at them.
Exactly, and then I think that was smart.
Absolutely. Well, and Tammy, how about you?
I don't remember the first time I saw it.
Oh no. So, what do you think this time around, rewatching it?
I'm sending them messages. I think it's the best one we've seen so far.
Fun. It's definitely the most fun movie.
Anytime I feel like watching it, it's something I will always enjoy.
For sure. And I've actually, just over the past week watching it, I've just had it playing on in the background just as something to have on while I'm doing work, because it's a movie that's perfect for that. Because I kind of mentioned this in my video, just the thing that inspired it was meant to be so episodic. I think that carries over into this movie as well, that you can just watch like a 15-minute chunk and get a really fun, like, little story. And if nothing else, like, it looks really cool. This is a really cool looking movie, and I love it. Hydeland Mike, same question.
So yeah, I remember seeing it as a kid. This is kind of like the same as like Alien and Aliens, where it's like you've seen both. Well, actually, I didn't see Alien, which is really weird, but I remember the second one more than the first one. Like, I remember this one. And as I started getting into it, I started watching. I was like, oh yeah, I remember this part. I remember this part. I remember this part, and all those pieces and parts all starts to come back together. I just think it's such a great movie. I think it's like, for me, it's like it's Harrison Ford post Star Wars, so it's like he gets to like be a totally different role. Which, if actually they're very similar, which is kind of interesting.
In my head, they're the same character.
They can be, though. I think he plays the same persona. I just think there's a level of education on each side where he's a professor, Indy's a professor, and Han Solo's just a bum. He's a smuggler. So they'd probably work out really well together if they worked. You know, that was a thought I actually had for videos. Could Han Solo and Indiana Jones work together in real life?
Do it. I would watch that in a heartbeat.
Oh yeah. So I think it's a great movie. I actually enjoyed watching. I actually sat and watched it on my computer because I have an ultra widescreen, so I got the whole widescreen effect and little pop-ups, which is really cool. If you watch it on Amazon or IMDb, there's little like "Did you knows" that pops up like pop-up video from VH1. So there's a bunch of cool things that popped up as I was watching it.
What did you learn?
And I forgot, Jonathan. Only one snake died. So this is weird. It stuck out to me, like in the scene where they're getting the Ark and all the snakes. They actually were all real snakes, and they actually had adders and they had boa constrictors. One of the boas actually died because he got bit by one of the adders.
Oh no!
I started to laugh, but that's kind of funny.
So it's really cool. And then Jonathan Rhys Davis was in it. Not Jonathan Rhys. Yeah, no, the other Davis. Yeah, Jonathan Rhys Davis. That's what I thought. Because he's Gimli from Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm.
That the dwarf?
Yeah.
The dwarf.
Wait, he's such an awesome person.
Yeah.
What?
He's got such a great voice.
He was Sala. The big guy. He's a big guy, the big Sala.
Yeah.
Such a cool character. Like, he was my favorite character of the whole movie. Because he's just like someone like pats Indy in the back. Come on, let's go. Like, let's do this. Yeah. He's all like gung-ho for everything. So.
Oh, so that's interesting. Yeah, let's talk about favorite characters. So, Mike, is he your favorite character, like, of the whole movie? Is he the one that you're going to watch it for?
Salah was a great character, and then I realized that Dietrich's is the most. I'm going to say this like not offensively or weirdly, I guess. He's the most German-looking, like Aryan race guy I've ever seen. Like, he had like the most defined like jaw structure. He had like the Quagmire chin. Like, it was perfect. And he fit that role so well. And I was looking him up and I'm like, his name is Wolf Kahler, so he's obviously German. So like he had like the perfect, like, if you want a quintessential German character in your movies, he was the guy.
Fun. Yep. Like, I think this movie is just so well cast for character types. I think that's one of the things that is sort of hand in hand with the style, and just the casting is so much fun. So yeah, let's talk about favorite characters who are not Indiana Jones, because that's cheating. Theme park rats or Tpv Misc. How about you?
Well, I like Balak. He was just an iconic villain. I love that. The fact that they had such a heck of a rivalry. What I didn't realize, something after watching it, that he was the one who actually opened he was the one with the outfit and all that opened the Ark. And it's like I always tried to remember who did it, and then when I saw it again, it's like, oh right, it was him. Yeah, and you got.
I have all the names pulled up because I forget them a lot. But yes, Balak, I think, is a character that I never really paid any attention to when watching it before, and this time he's so fascinating to me, just as like the antithesis or the anti-Indiana Jones, and it adds so much cool, dramatic tension, just his character from start to finish. Because I think before I was just paying more attention to the cool stunts and not really paying attention to the story. But just when you start to like lock in the story, he's such a cool character. He's fascinating. Oh, yeah. Lauren,
and the fact that they are like you said, they're almost like two sides of the same coin. He even mentioned that when Indy had the rocket launcher and was threatening to blow up the Ark, and it's like that's and he was right. They are very similar.
Oh, for sure. You're just like me. You want to see what's inside of it just as badly as I do.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Yeah. Lauren, how about you? Favorite non-Indy character?
I think it's Marion Ravenwood. There was just something about her that was very Princess Leia-like, and Princess Leia is my favorite from Star Wars.
Yep.
Just like down to her theme song. There was just something very, like, I think that's why the womanizing didn't bother me so much, because I knew she could hold her own against Indy, and I thought that was kind of cool for that era. And so, yeah, I just always had affection for Mary.
He's got the hots for
her.
Totally fair. Yeah, Marion is fair. I think Marion's actually my favorite character in the movie. Maybe even more than Indy, if we're considering Indy, because for everything that you said, she's the Princess Leia. That's the perfect way to compare it. And I think she just, right from the very first scene when she's drinking all the other guys under the table, you just know who this person is and how she carries herself, and it's fascinating to watch. It's a really nice, I think, inversion of the typical damsel in distress role that you would usually get in these types of movies. And I'm not sure if
she's kind of like a Megara.
81. Yes, she's like a Megara. Yeah, and then especially compared to the character that we got in the follow-up movie, who was just the complete stereotype of what you would expect in an action adventure. And again, I love her because I think she's more a parody of that than anything, and I think Kim Capshaw is hilarious. But as a character, I think Marion is almost in some ways the heart of the Indiana Jones franchise, because I think she's the only one that he truly loves and goes back to the entire time. Yeah, and that's part of the reason I want to rewatch Crystal Skull. I've only seen it once. I didn't have time to rewatch it before this, but yeah, out of all the characters to bring back, she's the one. Because she's the one.
Yeah.
And we love her. So what were everyone's favorite scenes? If you had one specific scene.
You have to make us choose?
Yep, you have to choose. There's so many good moments. I know it's difficult, but you have to pick one.
I mean, come on, there's only one good scene.
Only one good scene.
Bang.
That it.
I mean, come on. He's throwing it back and forth, and then he's just like, all right, bang. You brought a knife to a gunfight. It's over. Bye. Or the boxing scene is always a good scene because that dude's huge.
Right.
For a guy in the early 80s, that's a big dude. And he was the stereotypical 20s and 30s boxer too. He had that full look. It was pretty good. He was a big dude.
So basically, you like the Indiana Jones stunt spectacular.
Yes, it's great. I wish I needed to open again. It's such a good show.
It is a good show, and I know the stunt spectacular better than I know this movie. So for me, it's kind of a reverse experience. When I watch the movie, it's like I'm seeing the filmed version of the stunt show. instead of going to see the stunt show and thinking, "Oh, it's the movie brought to life." It's the opposite for me. It's so cool. Yeah. Tpv Misc, favorite scene.
Can you actually pick one?
It's hard to choose specifically, but I
so many good ones.
But I think the one that hasn't been mentioned is when he was trying to shake off all the Nazis off the truck, like all the way here.
That's a great scene.
That whole truck sequence.
Yeah, and I think that's something that I usually forget about this movie is that there's so many good like transit-based action sequences. So when I think about the action sequences in this, I usually think of like the boulder or again the stunt spectacular scene in the marketplace with the swords and the guns. But yeah, like the car stuff, it's so good. Like, there are just so many amazing sequences, and they kind of give you a little bit of everything. You get car chases. Well, there's not really a plane sequence, but there is a plane, so that's exciting. You know, everyone likes flying. Exciting times.
Well, there's a plane sequence where they take off in the beginning.
I know, but like, there's not
they
like
take off in the beginning.
The Winter Soldier style, like aerial fight. Like, I want that.
There was the original snakes on a plane. Reggie,
how long were you waiting to make that reference?
I've been holding. There's a pocket of jokes down here. Yeah.
There we go. Lauren, favorite scene.
Because you guys brought up some really good scenes that I really enjoy. So I'm going to try and think of another one. I honestly think, actually, I kind of like the way that Belloc was always one step ahead of Indy. He was actually one step behind, but always managed to get ahead. And so every time that he would be like, you know, you thought that you could have this, but no, I don't know why. There was something that just kind of like,
in a way, he basically purposely followed Indy, let Indy do all the work. He just took it from him.
That's exactly it. So he kind of like took everything from him without doing all the work. And I don't know, there was just something kind of funny about that whole thing.
Yeah, it kind of in that way reminds me of National Treasure. Like, I love National Treasure.
It's good.
I feel like National Treasure is more Indiana Jones to me than Indiana Jones actually is. I love National Treasure, but it definitely has that same vibe just of two people that are going for the exact same thing, and it definitely probably completely ripped off Indiana Jones, but just that's a sign of a good movie. It leaves a legacy that people want to copy. So there you go.
Here's a fun one. Tot, the weird guy with the hat and the glasses. He's Judge Doom from Roger Rabbit.
No, he's not.
He's not.
You mean like
that's
inspired
the two characters? Like that's the two. Yeah. That's the two characters I put together.
I was gonna say, how dare you like defile Christopher Lloyd that way?
No, that Christopher Lloyd's no. What I'm saying is that the characters are so similar. Like every time I saw Tot, I was like, it's Judge Doom. Like that's where you can see the similarities.
Oh, now I'm gonna start seeing Roger Rabbit in that movie.
His eyes are like,
and Jones working together.
Their death scene is kind of similar. Like their faces all like both of their faces go through awful changes. But actually, I think I've always sort of subconsciously thought that too. Anytime he enters the space, I just think, it's low budget Judge Doom. He's not secretly a tune, so why should I care?
Yeah, but I mean, he was like 9 years prior because he was first, because 81 versus 88 for Roger Rabbit. But maybe that's where
in my world,
Christopher Lloyd got the influence. Oh yeah, I saw Roger Rabbit first too. Probably the same time, same area.
Yeah. Actually, I wonder if Judge Doom was literally inspired by that character, or if they're both inspired by something entirely different and older.
Yeah, there's like another character that he's both inspired by.
Well, because I feel like Judge Doom doesn't have any direct ties to Indiana Jones or the character, aside from maybe they just saw the look and thought that's a cool look, let's take it. But since they're both kind of falling in a pseudo similar time period, I almost feel like there's something that like there's some kind of person or character from then that they both were trying to emulate. Be curious to know what that is, but anyway, so this is something that we kind of talked about before we went live, but let's talk about it on the air. Do we think this is actually a good movie, or do we like it because of nostalgia? Which, to be fair, the movie is kind of made to feel nostalgic even before there was anything to be nostalgic for. Like, it's a full-out tribute to that genre and that style of filmmaking from the 30s and the 40s. So do we actually think it's a good movie, or do we just like it because it pulls at those nostalgic heartstrings?
I like it, but I feel like you
It's
have to
both.
keep watching them. Like if you watch one, you have to keep watching. Like it wants to make you watch the next one and the next one and the next one.
Just like a good movie serial.
Mhm.
See, I wish I got to actually experience movie serials. I only know of them through research and kind of through reputation, but they seem so cool and they seem like so much fun. I think the closest thing I've ever really gotten is stuff like Indiana Jones and Star Wars, basically all the George Lucas stuff. I think and I said this in my video today, that he kind of gave the next generation, like basically gave all of us the serialized experience without us getting to go to theaters and see them in small parts.
Mhm.
But yeah, I don't know. Again, since I have no real nostalgic attachment to it, it's hard for me to, I think, love it as much as I know some of my friends do, but it is still like, it's so much fun to watch. I think that's the key. It's not comparative to some of the other movies that we watched for this, which all have some level of artistic merit just in terms of themes, humanity, whatever. I think this movie was just purely made for people to enjoy themselves and to enjoy watching. And I think that just tapped into something that solidified it as a fan favorite for everybody.
Yeah. I think it's a good movie because I think you got like great performances, you got a great villain, and there was something else I was going to say and I totally forgot what it was. But
that too.
Something else that was great about
I agree.
The film. Yeah. Just
yeah.
I was just going to say that I think that transcends just the nostalgia of it.
Yeah, I think part of the reason. Oh, Mike. Oh.
No, I just feel like it's such a good movie because it's just exploring something that we know about but don't know about, like the Ark and digging up tombs and stuff like that. The exploration side of things that back in the 80s and 90s they still did it, but it wasn't as prominent. So like bringing that back and exploring our world and finding out new things and having that adventure and having an adventure hero that we can all look to, that is exploring the world for us and showing us things that we may not be able to see normally because we don't even know where the Ark of the Covenant is. They're supposed to be someplace in Ethiopia where it's supposed to be, but no one even knows.
Well, probably for the best. You saw what happened when they opened it.
Yeah. Although I don't think that's the way it works, but yeah, I get you saying.
They didn't think that was how it worked either, Michael.
You're probably right. I'm not going to be there if it ever gets open. Like if they get in there and actually get it open. Yeah, there's supposedly a church. I think it's in either Ethiopia or some Middle Eastern or African country that actually houses the Ark inside, but they won't let anybody go in to witness it. So it's like, how do you even believe them? It's like,
right?
He said, she said kind of thing.
I feel like I know this from an episode of the Dean Cain documentary series, Ripley's Believe It or Not, from like 97, 98. I think they sort of did a profile on it, and that I almost think that idea is more fascinating, that you just sort of have to trust that it's there, even though they'll never actually let anyone see it. It just also makes you wonder, what would happen if they did? Would faces melt? Who knows?
It's like Pandora's box. Is it really real? What happens if we actually found it? What would really happen?
Reminds me of that meme. Hey guys, it's your girl Pandora here for another unboxing video.
That was recent too.
Hi Doris.
Hello.
Hello.
Did you ever see the Mythbusters episode where they actually made the two angels on top and made them electrically charged, and he put his hands on it and electrocuted him?
Wait, what?
There's a Mythbusters episode about the two winged figures on top of the Ark, and they replicated
what myth were they busting?
Whether it was if they could make something that would be electrically, like if they were, because I guess one of the protections, I guess, for the Ark was that the two winged creatures that have their arms stuck out, they have a special like magnetic charge. So if you touch them, you get electrocuted. So it keeps people from getting into the Ark.
Oh,
Let me look it up.
I thought it was just God or whatever, or curses.
Yeah.
That did that to them. Okay, do I miss something, or does the movie ever explain why the Ark attacks everyone when it opens, and how Indy knows to not look at it?
When he showed the picture of what it's supposed to look like, those little beams of light in the picture, that was supposedly, it was showing something coming out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So when he realized something was coming out, that's when he realized, don't look at it, because everybody who survived bowed their heads in respect, not looking at it. That's what I noticed. That's a detail that I didn't see before until this time. But it makes sense because that's what it is. The legends, there was everything, a truth behind all the legends, especially in every one of the movies. So it's like I noticed that, and it's like, oh, ha ha ha. And especially that was actually, it was really neat how intelligently it was done. It wasn't just like, oh, let's go do it. It actually described things carefully, but in a way there was still lots of action.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's really well thought out, and that makes me feel better about the movie, that there was an explanation for how he knew. I just wasn't picking up on, because I think that was the one thing that really kind of threw me off the first time I watched it. I remember now, the first time I watched it was actually in high school. It was like an anthropology class or a history class, and looking back, the teacher was probably hungover or something to just show us Indiana Jones to kill time. But I'm not complaining. We got to watch Indiana Jones. And when it got to the point where the faces were melting and like people were exploding, I just thought, what did I miss? Like, why is this happening? But there it is. It's a hidden detail. I think actually I read somewhere that there was a scene that was deleted that gave a little bit more exposition, where Indy actually read, oh, don't look at the stuff, and then bad stuff won't happen to you.
I actually just looked it up. It's a plot element involved in the Ark of the Covenant was cut from the film and is only hinted at during the finale when the Ark is open. Basically, there were 2 rules about the Ark not mentioned in the final cut of the film. If you touch the Ark, you die. If you look at the Ark when it's opened, you die. This is first explained in additional dialogue for the scene when Indy and Salah visit the Iman before translating the writings on the headpiece that give the height of the staff of Ra. And Iman warns Indy not to touch the Ark or look at it when it's opened.
Nice. And that's why no one actually touches the Ark. They just hold the poles that are supporting it. So then do we think it's a better choice? Do we think the movie is better for not having that information? Or would we have preferred it if they kept that little bit of exposition in?
It could go either way. If people watching like knew biblically how it worked, you would actually know, because it actually mentions it in the Bible that you're not supposed to look at it or touch it. So it's probably like they're going to assume that most people knew that, or it's information that you could gather that that's how the Ark actually works. So that's probably why they cut it, because it's common knowledge. He didn't have to explain it because it should have been, people should know, I guess.
Okay, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. I did not know. But
I
also kind of
heathen.
Exactly.
Although I do kind of like, I always feel like with expository information, there's a very fine line that you have to walk so that the audience knows what's happening, but not so much that they feel like it's being forced down their throats. So I think you always need to assume that your audience is smart, and even if they're not, then they'll sense that there's a reason for whatever's happening that they're just not picking up on, which was the case with me and the Ark melting off everybody's faces. Like, I could tell that there was a reason. I was the problem. I wasn't getting it, but the movie knew what was going on.
Well, I mean, if you give everybody all the information, then what fun is a movie? What suspense and what do you give the movie if you give everybody the information? Like, if you give somebody a test and you give them all the answers for the test, then what's the point of taking a test?
You paid the school a lot of money.
yeah, you did. I've done it twice, just like you.
I have 2 degrees.
Me too.
High five.
There yeah, high 2.
Yeah. High 2. Boom. So then digging into this whole archaeological question, do we think that things like this, like the Ark of the Covenant or other major historical relics, are they best left untouched, like literally and figuratively? Because that's something that the movie kind of skims the surface of. This whole question of, do you leave it where it is? Do you try to use it for your own personal gain, like the Germans are trying to do? Or do you take something and then put it on display in a museum, which is kind of what Indy wants to do? It's like those three options. Like, it might have historical significance, but it's better to just leave it where it is and just let it do its thing. Do you use it or do you display it? What do we think there?
Well, give me any artifact that has some sort of power over people that is advantageous for having it. There isn't any. They're just items. They have no like quintessential like spiritual or extra power other than people's emotions. They're just things.
I'm trying to think now. Is there anything, because I like to counter arguments, I'm trying to think, is there anything that's not just the thing?
I mean, they're only worth money at this point. So does it monetary gain you're looking for? Sure, then go be Lara Croft and be Tomb Raider, but make a lot of money. I mean, or steal the Declaration of Independence. I mean, it's just money. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't change anything if it's destroyed or lost.
It's what people believe in it, not necessarily the item itself, but what people assign personal value to. So if you have it, you get them to follow you because you have it, not because it can do anything for you. It's because the people believe in it, and so they follow you for it.
Yeah, it's an emotional attachment versus a physical or like a spiritual, like I don't know, spiritual, but like some more magical like thing.
It's like more like a cultural icon rather than just like magic power.
No, I agree with you completely. Like it's like if they found the Ark in real life now, like if they found the Ark now, like what it would have significance and people would ooh and ah over, and it should go to a museum or it should be held where it's at. But having possession of it, I don't think would give anybody any sort of advantageous power over anybody else. There's a fine line between what's magic and what's not. Like movies are good at magic.
Yeah.
Movies are good at magic. It kind of reminds me of sort of all the conversations surrounding like excavating Egyptian tombs specifically, because first and foremost, it's a resting place for somebody, whether nobility or not, that has died. But at the same time, it has so much cultural significance and historical significance just to see like burial practices, artistic, everything, that there is that, I think, cultural interest that's attached to it. And I don't know, it's a fascinating question. Like, when do you disturb things that should not be disturbed? I almost feel like the Ark of the Covenant in this movie is standing in for that as a like thing that was better left alone, as opposed to a thing that was. What?
Do you think that's a Western desire, or do you think that's a worldly desire? Like overall, everyone wants to know.
I think that's a human desire, is just to know.
Yeah, but I feel like if you look at like the excavation of most of the tombs in Egypt, they're all done by who's a big pocket that's paying out the money. Some Western European company has paid the money and funded it out, and they get a bunch of people out there to dig. And what are they gaining? It's for their own gain versus, is it just a quest for knowledge? Is it, there's a bunch of reasons, but for me, it could have been left there and I wouldn't have cared. I still want to go see the pyramids and the Sphinx and stuff like that. But what's in there doesn't matter to me. It doesn't change my life. It doesn't make anything different.
Yeah, and I think that's a thing that's sort of prevalent in just the design of Indiana Jones as well. It's the Western fascination with other cultures that really have nothing to do with your culture, but at the same time, there's a fascination. You want to either learn more about it, or in some cases, take things and then put them on display in your own museums. Kind of thinking about the British Museum in Egypt, going back to that. But that's basically what Indy is also kind of doing. He's just unapologetically at the beginning of the movie saying, I have no interest in the religious components of the Ark. I want it because it's a major historical piece and people deserve to see it. And then in some ways I'm like, that makes sense. But in other ways, I'm just thinking like, it's not really your thing to take and display. But
does he want it just for the historical significance of putting it in a museum? Really, though? I don't think so. I think he legitimately wants to know because his own undenying quest for knowledge is why he perseveres or whatever. Why can't I say the word?
Perseveres.
Why he presses on with what he wants to do. So here's a question for you, and I was thinking about this the other day. Where could Indiana Jones go in to see? Society of Explorers and Adventurers. I think he's great. He would fit in perfectly.
He's already kind of there. He's already sort of been retconned in, which at some point I'll do a video about. I suspect that he's... Actually, no, I don't think he is a member. I think he's on the outskirts. Because within canon of the Society of Explorers and Adventurers, and if any of the people watching don't know what that is, I have videos on it, so go take a look.
There's a video link really cool. Somewhere.
Video link. It would be here. Yeah. Wait, this is a live stream. I can't do that. Doesn't matter. Can I?
You can put a description later.
Maybe after. I think after.
There it is. That's where it will be. But the Society of Explorers and Adventurers is this really cool backstory that links Disney parks attractions around the entire world. Jungle Cruise is one of the more prominent ones, especially now with the new movie and the ride revamps coming up. And it's this society, this secret society of people that are exploring the world. And Indiana Jones is sort of the archetype of the kind of characters that Disney has developed for their rides. And he sort of exists in sea canon, but just on the outskirts of it. Because in Jungle Cruise lore, there's, what's his name? Professor Garrett Reed. He's the guy that they centered one of the Jungle Cruise overlays around. And within his story, Indiana Jones is like his mortal enemy. So, yeah. So he does sort of exist, but more like as an adversary. And I do sort of think that the next Indiana Jones movie is going to tie into C, but that's me being partially optimistic. But yeah, so like I do think there's a place for him in the society, but dramatically, I almost feel like he's the person that's trying to get accepted and they just won't take him.
Or he just doesn't want to be secretive about it.
Oh yeah, or that. Or maybe that's why they won't take him, because he's just so loud about the work that he does. Or where do you think he would fit into the sea, Michael?
I don't know. I think he fits in, but I think, like you said, he's a little bit too loud and kind of brash about things because he doesn't do anything quietly. Oh, here comes the lights, and he has to go pee.
When you have to, you have to.
I'm gonna put my hand up here because he might come out like undressed. So.
Oh no! Don't get the video flagged.
Yeah, so we'll keep this. Yeah, because thank you. You better? That was quick, dude. Did you even go pee? Bye.
Hold on, what?
Yep, I think. No, I feel like Indy could fit in, but I was just thinking about it because I don't know as much about the sea Society of Explorers and Adventurers as you do. It is something that I'm super excited for, and you've made me excited for, and it's your fault that I want to know about more of these things. But I think it's a big universe that can be explored, and I think Indiana Jones could fit in there. But do we want to fit him in there? Is he too classic? Is he too tough guy? Even though they have the Rock in the new one, but
no. Well, the Rock's technically not in C that we know of yet. He's also kind of on the outskirts, but discuss that.
He has to be. I love the Rock. I love Dwayne Johnson.
I mean, he's okay. He does all right. He's the Scorpion King. We love the Scorpion King.
Yeah, and he's Maui.
Yes. And that guy
from
Rock. Baywatch. What else has he been in?
He was in Fast and Furious. Race to Witch Mountain.
I forgot they remade Witch Mountain.
What hasn't he done?
He hasn't done. No, Moana's a musical.
He sang. Yeah, he sang the song. He sang "You're Welcome." I was impressed.
What can I say except you're welcome? But actually, Jacques Lindsay, the pilot guy, is officially a member of C. So I think that's sort of where it ties in. Is that it's more Jacques than Indy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
cool.
how does? What were you gonna say?
No, go ahead. I
was gonna move into my next question, which is, I know that we're really just. Oh, Mackenzie's here. Hold on. Everyone wave. Hi, Mackenzie.
Oh, hello. Mackenzie's here. I'm leaving.
Oh, hello there.
Oh, wait a minute.
So is it safe to assume everyone has seen or is like familiar with the other movies? Like I know today is mostly just Raiders, but I kind of want to talk about the other films as well in comparison. So how do we think Raiders compares to the rest of the franchise? Like, did it set the bar too high? Did the movies get better, worse? What are our thoughts there?
I think Raiders is what, if you say Indiana Jones, people think Raiders, like people think the second one, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Right? No, it's yeah.
Raiders, the first one.
Raiders came first.
I'm already lost.
It was a prequel. It came second in the timeline.
Yeah, so it was
I've
kind
seen
of
them all. Yeah, I lost myself.
I wasn't sure if you froze or if you just like froze.
No, I'm yeah, Temple of Doom. That's what I'm thinking of.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one that I remember the most as a kid. Like especially the scene where the raft that blows out and they float down on it into the water.
Yeah, like Temple of Doom is like my personal favorite. Just in terms of the action sequences, I think they're a lot. Well, I don't want to say they're more fun because the action sequences in all of them are amazing. But like I enjoy watching Temple of Doom a lot more. I love the opening. I think the Anything Goes sequence in Chinese, and then like the James Bond-esque scene that follows is such a fun way to kick off the movie, and it's so different from what we expected after having seen Raiders. And then like you said, the raft. The Kalima, the heart. Oh, like
Kalima.
It's such a dark, awful movie, but it's so much fun to watch. For me, that's like peak Indiana Jones.
Me no touch anything, Dr. Jones.
Kind of adorable. How about our other friends? What do you feel about Raiders compared to the rest of the series?
I think it really did set the tone.
Mm-hmm.
I remember them.
Yeah, but I need to rewatch them though to see more details. But yeah, I think it just that's what you expected, and you got it in different ways, but it still came out the right way.
Yeah, I need to see the other films to like really answer your question. I mean, I have seen them, but see them again because it's been a while since I've seen them all. But I feel like Indiana Jones holds up, for itself, and could be its own. It could have been the only movie, and it would have been great. You know what I mean?
It's like New Hope.
Yeah, like a New Hope, exactly.
Yeah, which actually brings me into another question I want to pick people's brains on. If you have to pick which one you're going to eliminate from existence, do you pick Indiana Jones or Star Wars? And why?
Ooh.
You're evil.
Yeah, and not it's not just a case of you're never watching it again. Like it never existed. You have to get rid of one forever.
I think you'd have to get rid of Indiana Jones because the universe for Star Wars is so much bigger and so much more available for content to create. Whereas Indiana Jones is one singular focus. You're focused on one person, whereas Star Wars is a universe.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
Only because of that. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to choose because they're both awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But we can make Indiana Jones a space archaeologist and put him into Star Wars.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. He can be translated into
and then Han Solo and Harrison Ford can play. Harrison Ford can play both both people, but no one recognizes that they're the same person. until like a dozen movies into the future, and then they realize that they're twins. They didn't know it.
Yeah,
that would be amazing.
That's pretty cool.
Actually, when I was researching for our game tonight, which we'll get to in a little bit, I discovered that there was actually one crossover between Han Solo and Indiana Jones, and it's technically now been expelled from canon for either now that Disney owns them. But I didn't do too much research into what it entailed, but it was a comic book, and Indiana Jones basically found the skeletal remains of Chewie and Han Solo. And I think might have been.
I can see why that was cut.
But no, he found it, and because he was looking for, I think, Bigfoot or the Sasquatch, then he found the Chewie skeleton. And
that's so funny.
he was like, I found it. And then, and actually the kid from Temple of Doom, his skeleton was there too.
That's funny. With a hat and everything, the baseball cap.
I think so, yeah.
Wow.
I love how the
What an
movie
awful twist.
doesn't give you any explanation as to how Indy knows these people. He just does.
Yeah.
He just shows up and just like, I know you. Drive the car.
I think that's what makes him appealing, though. Is that we don't know anything about him, but yet he knows everybody.
He's
Oh,
kind
yeah,
of
he
like a
has
James
such a, like-
Bond.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen a
He's
James
kind of
Bond movie.
What?
I know.
What?
I know.
Do you live under a rock? Like there's like
Canada.
26 movies.
That's why there's too many.
No, they're all
I have
good.
to. I have to defend Matt. I haven't seen one either.
What?
Wow.
Maybe that'll be the
I
next
know.
marathon.
Yeah.
I'll be down. They used to come on. They used to have a 007 marathon on like TBS when I was a kid, and it was like all 26 movies over like 4 days. We literally would sit there and watch all 26 movies.
Wow.
Did you sleep?
Maybe not. It was like a week. It was like a week, but we slept. But it was like it would stop obviously. But they're all so good.
Oh, okay.
Have you seen
I think there
Austin
was, like-
Powers?
Oh, of course. And I think that's why I haven't seen
It's-
James Bond, because I love Austin Powers so much.
He's seen Austin Powers, but he hasn't seen James Bond.
Yeah, exactly. It's like this is my thing with someone made this comparison in something I was watching, and it articulated it perfectly. I saw Spaceballs years before I saw Star Wars, and I loved
That's fine.
Spaceballs. And by the time I saw Star
Spaceballs
Wars, I was
is great.
like, why would anyone make an unfunny Spaceballs movie? Yeah, and I think that's what James Bond would be.
Why
It
a
would be
serious
like,
movie?
why would anyone make an unfunny Austin Powers movie? And just, this is my wife, Oprah.
I like gold.
So funny.
I don't really count Goldmember as canon. It starts and ends with number 2.
Goldmember's still good though.
I
I still like it.
I think the fact that there's no acknowledgement about what happens to Felicity in the third one, and I think that's a James Bond thing, if I'm not mistaken, that they just don't acknowledge.
Isn't Felicity the fembot?
No, Vanessa's.
No. She was the one in
Vanessa's the
69.
fembot.
Yeah. So Vanessa is Elizabeth Hurley. Then Heather Graham is Felicity. And then third movie.
Actually, they mentioned she went back home.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, they did. It was a throwaway line, but she just went back home to 1969. That's it. That's all they said.
Yeah.
All right, now I've totally gone off track with Austin Powers. It's so far removed from Indiana Jones.
James Bond, Indy. Well, in some ways, they're all basically very similar characters. They're just iconic characters that have one name and a whole brand attached to them, which I think is one of the really smart things to circle it back that Lucas and Spielberg did with Indiana Jones, is that they just right off the bat created this character that had this entire legacy attached to him, even though he didn't. They were just like, let's make this kind of character, and if we sell it, people will buy it. And they sold it, and we bought it.
Yeah, I mean, other than Harrison Ford, who was the other really big actor out of Star Wars, the original trilogy?
Wait, what? Who came out of Star Wars? Or
Yeah, who came out of Star Wars and had a career?
all of them?
Had a big career.
One who did
All of
amazing.
them.
Superstar career.
I mean,
Who?
Hamilton.
James Earl Jones?
Well, he was the
Okay,
voice.
He didn't actually play. He was a voice, so there's a difference.
Oh. He was more present than Hayden Christensen was. That's what I'll say.
Well,
Carrie
Carrie
Fisher,
count that.
Carrie Fisher had a storied career.
yeah, Carrie
She
Fisher.
may not have done acting the entire time.
What did she do
did
though?
A lot of writing. She's ghost written on many movies that you would never think. Like she did ghost writing on.
She's
And
done a
it's those-
ton of stuff, but she, as an actor, as someone who's like seen in TV or seen on movies, Harrison Ford and maybe Warwick Davis.
Okay. Oh, so I guess you mean like more in terms of like A-list Hollywood.
Sure, like who
Davis.
became a big star off of Star Wars? Harrison Ford.
Pretty much just Harrison. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark
And then
My
Warwick
head when I
Davis
think
was already
Success
known.
Awards. Yeah. Like Mark Hamill, I know he had a really big voiceover career, but I guess both him
Oh,
and
he's a
Carrie
huge
Fisher,
voiceover
like,
career.
like they worked, but more I think, quietly in Harrison Ford.
Yeah, man, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I mean, Harrison Ford, everybody knows who Harrison Ford is. He's done so much stuff. Right. And then, like I said, I keep saying Warwick. Do you guys know who Warwick Davis is?
Oh yeah, he's Grip Hook from Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
And Willow.
Correct. And Willow. And he was
Wicket the Ewok.
Wicket. He was Wicket. Yeah.
Oh,
the
that's so cute.
You didn't know that?
The one that befriends Leia.
Yeah. I just assumed the Ewoks were puppets.
No, they were people. They were people in suits.
Oh, those poor people.
Warwick Davis is one of them.
Oh, that's so sad.
No, Warwick Davis is a hero. He's done so much cool stuff. Like,
I just assume Warwick Davis is in everything that's like fun and fantasy driven in some way or another.
Mm-hmm.
Willow, Harry Potter, Hitchhiker's Guide. He was in Ray. He was in Solo.
He was in Solo? Who was he in Solo?
He was Weasel.
Okay, that means nothing to me, but probably couldn't tell you very many character names in Solo. I loved Solo, though. I'm the only one.
Was that the one with the
No, arms? I liked it, too.
Solo, was that the arms? Was that Weasel?
I don't remember. I didn't like the movie, so I didn't like it very much, so...
Yeah, I don't think very many people did. Probably just Lauren and myself.
Yeah.
I thought it was...
We haven't seen James Bond, and we like Solo.
There it is.
What is wrong with us?
Well, I think I like Solo for a lot of the reasons people like Indiana Jones, and including me, because it was just a fun adventure movie, and that was all I wanted.
Weasel was one of the bad guys. He was one of the baddies. He's just a little short guy. He was with who's the? Yeah, I know who he is now that I see it.
Well, then my homework will be to look up Weasel in Solo, and then think to myself, him. I remember him.
Just look for a guy who's like less than 4 feet tall.
And Warwick Davis. There you go. I had something I was going to say, and I can't remember what it was.
Sorry.
Oh, wait, we're talking about celebrities. Harrison Ford. Oh, yeah, so it really has nothing to do with anything, but I think one of the fun things with this movie also is that I hear things.
He was in episode 1 of Star Wars as well. He was the guy in the little kid in the green suit with the little. He looked like the little he looked like the little Greedo. That was also Warwick Davis.
Oh.
I saw Lauren looking it up, and I heard the pod race.
I know.
You could do it, Annie.
I had to look it up.
Oh, hero.
There was a young Greedo.
There what? There
one.
Well, that wasn't Greedo though. It was somebody different. He has a name. I can't remember.
Greedo in one of the deleted scenes.
Oh, there's a bunch of extra deleted scenes.
Yeah, I know. I just have to say it.
Is this like a Baby Yoda situation where it's not Yoda, but it just looks like him, so we just say other Greedo?
So we call him Grogu, and that's an awful name.
It's kind of cute, you know.
Sounds like something a cat does when it gets sick. Grogu, Grogu, Grogu.
I think you need to get your cat looked at.
There's 4 of them in this house, and they all make some really obnoxious noises.
I thought you only had 2. Are they multiplying?
We have 2, and then Amanda's parents also have 2. So we have 2 boys, they have 2 girls, and they don't get along. They've been together for 6 months now. They don't like each other.
Oh, well, that's sad. Well, give it like another year and a half. They'll learn to tolerate.
Hopefully, we won't be living together.
It's on the air. You said it.
Well, he's talking about getting their own place. I mean, come on.
Fair enough. But don't
so
separate
they moved down here with us.
Don't separate the cats. You can't do that. It's no good.
No, they need to be separated. Even these 2 idiots that I have here, they need to be separated sometimes. They go like wrestling through the house and there's like cat tufts of hair everywhere because they're just like ripping chunks of hair and fighting across the house. You know, well, yeah, you got to, yeah, you know. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning. Like, what are you guys doing? Body slamming each other off the couch. Or like, what are you doing?
Pretty much. They're like furry
from Indiana Jones.
Yes. It's like Indiana Jones when he's, fighting the guy at the airplane, and they're just slugging it out, and that's literally these two cats just body slamming each other around the table until one falls off.
We brought it back. Fantastic.
But there's no propellers involved, so the cats survive.
Oh, that's terrible.
I remember seeing that scene as a kid, though, and being like, because you knew it's gonna happen. You're like, oh, I was like, and like, please don't show it. I'm like, and they didn't show it, so it was good. I was terrified of blood and gore when I was a kid.
I'm constantly shocked at how like actually graphic this movie is, and Temple of Doom as well. Like, ugh, you don't expect it.
Like they shoot the guy right square in the head, and he just like blood comes out of his head and dribbles down his face. And he just falls over. You're like, that was very graphic for an '80s film.
Yeah, and even like the implied fact that guy got like shredded by the propellers.
Well, the blood goes everywhere. And he gets blood in his face, and like you're like the noise, like throwing
why
fruit
didn't he
into
just
a fan.
drop into the ground and disappear in smoke like at MGM Studios? Come on.
I mean, come on. Judge Doom stood there and let a steamroller on him for 45 minutes.
Oh, that was cute. It was a cartoon.
Or like in Austin Powers, where like he's get out of the way, get out of the way. The steamrollers come, the guy's like, ah, like 45 minutes, and slowly gets up to him. It was like the same like TV joke.
Why would I ever
concept, like,
watch
you could have gotten out of the way?
when I could rewatch that? That's my question.
There's some good stuff. And Daniel Craig is a great James Bond. If you want to watch the new stuff, watch Daniel Craig. Fantastic.
Really? No, I want to see classic old, cheesy James Bond where like
you need some Sean Connery. You need some Sean Connery James Bond. Sean Connery.
Oh yeah, Indy's
Sean
dad.
Connery.
Indy's
yeah,
dad.
Indy's dad. There you go. See, it all ties back.
It does. It does. And I remember that movie. I remember not enjoying that movie, but it seemed like a lot of people really seemed to like Last Crusade.
I think it's a harder of the three original trilogies to the three originals to watch because I don't know. It is harder. I think there's more. I think it's harder. I think it's harder to watch because when I was younger, there's a lot more adult situations, a lot more going on for me that I didn't actually understand what was going on. It's more in depth, I feel like. Yeah, like, the only thing I can remember is him like going out of the window and then going across and going to the next room, and it was his dad in there, and he's like, "Oh, hey," and then they hate each other.
I remember them hating each other. I remember that he came really close in the last scene to saying "Elsa, let it go," and just because of Frozen, I was really hoping that would have happened, but it didn't. That was disappointing. And then there's that old knight that just says he has chosen poorly.
Yeah.
Those are my
chosen poorly.
Or we named the dog Indiana.
It's adorable.
I think you could actually watch Family Guy and actually be able to like understand all of Indiana Jones because they do a ton of Indiana Jones references too, on top of Star Wars references. Yeah, they do the whole like you have chosen you have chosen wisely. Like they do the whole scene. They do the whole scene with "I don't touch anything, Dr. Jones," and it's Stewie, and he backs up into the thing. And
oh, that's hilarious. And I think, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, so Last Crusade. In my brain, it's kind of like just standard trilogy problems. By the time you get to the third movie, it's usually just okay. Like I think that's sort of the case with Return of the Jedi. Like it has a lot of things that are good about it, but I think by that point they're trying, like there are just so many expectations to recapture a certain style or sense of magic that just came naturally in the first one, if not two installments. And then by the time you get to the third, it's kind of a gamble. Like The Godfather, which I haven't seen Godfather 3, but the internet tells me not good.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like it's like with Return of the Jedi, it's like, okay, now we have to finish and wrap this up. So it's like we have to put all this in here to get all of the context of everything that was going on. And they just kind of like blow through it. They could have done another 2 movies, I think, out of Return of the Jedi.
Oh, no, but George Lucas wouldn't have done that because he wanted to be like a perfect 3.
Well, he had them all planned out, yeah.
Yeah, well, he says that.
Yeah, I know.
He had the one movie planned, and then when people liked it, it was like, oh, I have to figure out more.
Mm-hmm.
Here it is.
It was good.
Yeah, well, the impression that I get with Star Wars, at least, is that it's kind of meant to, well, when I was researching for my video for this, he said that Star Wars, the first one, was specifically meant to feel like you were just watching one chapter of something without knowing what was happening before and after it. And it was just meant to be like that isolated thing that you got to see. So it kind of reminds me of like that movie Grindhouse that came out a couple years ago, where it was structured to be like you were watching a double feature in a cinema in the 60s and like giving you just a tiny sliver of this like bigger universe. And that's what the first Star Wars was, because it was so successful. He just had to actually envision what the rest of that universe was. And in some ways it worked, and in other ways we got the prequels. So there you go.
Yeah.
What about Indiana Jones? How does that tie in?
In the exact same philosophy. Yeah, no. Oh, well, just because it's George Lucas. It's the George Lucas philosophy about how everything that he does, he's like, I'm so in love with nostalgia that I want to revive whatever this thing I grew up with was. Like, I want to put that back on screen, whether or not people actually want it. And I think he has a really good sense, just having read a couple of interviews with him, about doing things from a commercial perspective, or at least he did earlier in his career, where he had a really good vibe of like, this is what will get funded, this is what will make money, and if I make enough of this, then I could start making the kind of weirder, more avant-garde things that I want to make.
Like,
so I think he strikes a really weird balance between doing things that are really popular, but also having really crazy ideas, like auteur ideas. Like when you hear about his original plan for, I think, his version of the Star Wars sequel trilogy, it was all going to take place in the world of the midi-chlorians, like on microscopic
I heard about that.
levels. And I think that just gives you a sense into how he's like both things at the same time. He's able to create something that's really fun and popular like Star Wars, but then when it gets popular enough, he's able to slide in his actual agenda, which is to make art movies, like very alternative art movies. So whether or not that's good, who knows? I kind of would have liked to see the midi-chlorian movie, but never will.
I think it's possible still. Oh, man, sorry.
But what would that
we
even
did it. We got Osmosis Jones.
What a deep cut that was.
We said midichlorians. They're microscopic bioorganisms that live inside your bloodstream. Osmosis Jones was a microscopic organism that lived inside your bloodstream. So,
okay, I'll take it.
There you go.
But I think that's a similar. I think George Lucas has a similar mentality to Steven Spielberg in that way, where he likes making movies that cater to stuff that he grew up with and loves. Like, I think that's the only reason that Spielberg is doing the West Side Story remake, because nobody asked for that. Nobody wanted a West Side Story remake. I just think Spielberg likes West Side Story and decided, I want to make my own, even though there's no market for it. And that's, I think, a really cool, like, just the fact that, I know it's not West Side Story live stream discussion, but it's going to be for a second. The fact that the West Side Story remake exists and is happening is such a testament to the power of Spielberg's popularity just as a director. Because I think there are so few directors who are a draw in and of themselves. Like, this West Side Story movie has 0 A-list Hollywood stars, and yet it's one of the biggest budget movies coming out this year, and it's just because it has his name attached to it. And I think it's a similar thing that, like, him and Lucas have acquired a similar pull in the industry because of their early work, where people will just see stuff because it has those names attached to it.
Well, it's like slapping a Jordan logo on a pair of shoes or slapping an Apple label on a phone. It's the same concept. It's brand recognition. Like, you know who Steven Spielberg is. You know who George Lucas is. So they make content, whether people want to see it or not, they're going to go see it, and he's going to make a bunch of money because you want to see what he made. It's like
Chris Nolan.
It's like Mike Lynn. Yeah.
Exactly what I was saying earlier, where it's like, I don't remember when I first saw this film, but I knew it had Steven Spielberg and George Lucas attached to it.
Lucas, yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, that was all over for me.
Yeah, so popular. And I think Nolan actually is a very similar thing, where he started out making very popular movies like the Batman franchise, Batman Begins, Dark Knight, and then he just hits a point where he's so popular that he could do anything, and then he gives us his weird art movies that he secretly always wanted to make with Time Traveler. I didn't see Tenet, I don't know, but apparently Tenet was really weird. So there it is. And same with Interstellar.
I think
Just made his
I think
crazy space.
Dave Filoni is going to be the same eventually as well with Star Wars.
Oh yeah. Oh, but I think Dave Filoni.
He's at a point now where he can make whatever he wants in Star Wars, and everyone's going to love it.
That's true.
Like they'll give him here's a blank check, Dave. Make what you want. We're going to love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the difference there, and what gives me like faith with him, is that his agenda is a pure love of original Star Wars.
Yeah.
And so I think he's going to deliver the stuff that people who like love the original trilogy are actually going to want, as opposed to the midi-chlorian sequel trilogy. But who knows? I'm like, if he does the midi-chlorian sequel trilogy, it'll probably be a delight. So we have to wait and see. Anyway, let's move on to our main. What would you say?
I think you should do the Mandalorian Wars. Like the original Mandalorian Wars, like
imagine
old
the twist is that the Mandalorian characters are all actually midi-chlorians.
Yeah.
Well, Anakin Skywalker was made from midi-chlorians. He was a midi-chlorian created being.
Yes, he was. Keep blocking that out, but that's part of the story. Anyway,
and then so they're gonna make Rey the same way.
No, Rey. Well, do an entire.
They're gonna make Rey the same way.
Happened with Rey. Rey was. Rey should have just stayed nobody.
Rey is a wonderful lightning bug from Princess and the Frog.
I do love that lightning bug. All right,
it's probably one of my favorite characters.
Game. Does everyone have their paper and their pen?
Mm-hmm.
Good, good. So tonight's game is going to be solo or indie. I am going to tell you a fact about a character, and you have to tell me if I'm describing Han Solo, Indiana Jones, or both. So both is an option, or individual is an option. I will say at no point is the answer neither. So it's always going to be indie, solo, or both. And there are some trick questions. There are some questions that have answers that I've picked that could be open to debate. But in my mind, there's a right answer for everyone. So here we go. Oh, I have to have a scorecard. Hold on. This.
Do you have your pen and paper ready?
I do. Here we go. All right. And for the 5 people watching, feel free to play along in the chat. Indie, solo, or both. Here we go. This character has 1 child. Indie, solo, or both. Okay. 1 for solo. 1 for both. And what have we got? Oh, Lauren, I can't see both. And both is correct. Very good. So got a point for TPV Misc and Castles, Capes, and Clones. There we go. Oh, Jean-Claude's here. Hello, friend. You make it just in time for the game. Yay.
What cocktail
we got some friends playing along at home as well. So yes, the game, for anyone who just joined us, it is indie, solo, or both. I'm going to read a fact about a character, and then those playing along have to tell us if I am describing Han Solo, Indiana Jones, or both characters. And can anyone name Han Solo and or Indiana Jones's kids?
Well, Han Solo's is Ben Solo.
Very good.
Yeah. And then Indy's was Mutt.
Yes, Mutt something, or what's his name? Even Stevens' kid.
Shia LaBeouf.
Shia LaBeouf? Oh, really? Yeah, I forgot about that. That's stupid. That doesn't count.
You responded on my Instagram saying the Shia LaBeouf movie.
I was being silly. I was being facetious. It's the worst movie.
But it has... no, I don't want to say more. I'll give away an answer. Okay, next. This character was named after a dog.
After a dog?
After a dog. And you are all right. It is Indy. He is named after a dog, both in and out of universe. I think he was named after George Lucas's actual dog. And then, of course, in The Last Crusade, they reveal his name is actually, Henry Jones Jr., but he just named himself after the dog. So there it is. Huh. Okay.
My mom's got a dog named Indy.
Oh, really?
He's named Indianapolis, though, after Indianapolis. He's a sweet dog. He's blind as a bat, but
sweet. Adorable.
He runs into things.
Next,
he's old.
This character shot first. This character shot first. Yes, you're all right. It is both. Both of them shoot an unarmed character. It's fantastic and hilarious.
Rito was armed.
Well, he wasn't ready to shoot, was he? Or no, he was.
He
had a weapon, yeah.
He was aiming at him, he just didn't shoot.
He had a blaster.
That's true. McClunky.
He was just too slow.
Okay. Next, this character was described by George Lucas as a cynical loner who realizes the importance of being part of a group and helping for the common good. Again, this character was described by George Lucas as a cynical loner who realizes the importance of being part of a group and helping for the common good. Okay, got Solo, a Solo. You're all right, it's Solo. I make these questions too easy.
This game's Solo.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Oh, I should have put those two together. Oh, well. Next, this character encountered aliens. Yes, it is both. Even though technically George Lucas says that in Crystal Skull, they're not aliens, they're interdimensional beings.
Well, they're alien to this dimension, so it still counts.
Yeah, they're aliens.
I mean, even from the original movie, they were pretty much aliens. They were interdimensional beings coming out of that arc.
Okay, next. This character is a competent pilot.
Oh, wait, say that one more time.
This character is a competent pilot.
This is a neither.
Really?
Okay, the answer that I've deemed correct is Solo. So that is a point for Hydes and Castles, Capes, and Clones. Specifically because he identifies himself as a pilot, and there's a solid point made in the Indiana Jones movies of either I can't fly a plane or I can't land a plane. Ergo.
Okay.
Mackenzie. No, James Marshall. Oh, Air Force One. I have not seen Air Force One.
That was a good movie. I haven't seen it.
Actually,
it was a great movie, but that's a really weird answer.
My grade 9 drama teacher
Get
was
off
in
my plane.
Okay.
Snakes on a plane.
Next, this character is referenced in a song by Aqua. This character was referenced in a song by
I don't know which one. That's tough. The only Aqua in the song I know is Barbie Girl, and I don't think.
Oh, this is the first one. No one is correct. It is Dr. Jones. Calling Dr. Jones. Dr. Jones, Dr. Jones, wake up now. Dr. Jones, calling Dr. Jones, Dr. Jones. I could just keep going. It's so catchy. Okay. This character had their screen debut in the 1970s. This character had their screen debut in the 1970s.
This character? Say that again.
The character had their screen debut in the 1970s.
I want to...
You're all right. It's Han Solo.
Yeah, because Indiana Jones didn't come out till 1981.
There you go. Very good. Wait, Mike, what was your hesitation?
Well, because I was like, character or actor? Because if you did actor, it could be both.
Oh, no, character.
Because he's the same person.
Oh, no, it's always going to be
character. Is this a trick question?
Yeah. Here we go. Okay. Harrison Ford described this character by saying there's not much breadth of character to explore beyond what we got out of him. Harrison Ford said about this character, there is not much breadth of character to explore beyond what we got out of him. And the correct answer was Han Solo. So that is a point Tpv Misc and Triple C. Well done. Okay. Last and not least, this character says, I know.
I remember the solo one much clearer.
You're all right. It's both. Thought I would trip people up with that.
The solo one is very
like
iconic.
An iconic line. It's like it's the most famous thing he says. And then I had to go through the transcript for Raiders, but he does in fact say "I know" at least 3 times in Raiders. Like I think the most memorable one is "I know where the Ark is, Marion." So yes. All right. So
but he doesn't say it just like I know it's the whole line. Got it.
Yeah. Oh no, not the whole line. Like, does it ever come out of their mouth? There we are. Okay, so your current point tallies, which are the amount of points that you can bet for our bonus round, are as follows. Hydeland, you have 7. Castles, Capes, and Clones, you have 9. Tpv Misc, you have 8. How many points would we like to wager for the last round? And I will say it's a different type of question. Okay, so we got 7 here from Hyde's.
I'm going to go all in.
All in.
All in. All right, here we are. So here's the question. Throughout the day, I have been polling people on my Instagram via the little slider thing to ask them to rank each of the Indiana Jones movies. Which Indiana Jones film came out as the top film? So you have 4 options. So again, on the Instagram, I put a little slider thing in front of every movie, and I let all the people following me rank them.
Sure,
which movie came out as the most popular out of the 4 Indiana Jones films? I can see some answers coming here in the chat. Martha thinks Raiders.
We think Raiders as well. The first one.
Okay. DPV votes Raiders. Lauren votes Raiders. Hydeland. Temple of Doom. But I'm very excited to say all of you lost all of your points. There we go.
Last Crusade wasn't it?
Don't tell me it's
Last Crusade. By a landslide.
Between those two, and we flipped a coin basically.
I am shocked. So many people seem to love Last Crusade. It was almost across the board. Like everyone gave it 100%. I don't know what I'm missing, but yeah. So I guess all I can say is you chose
poorly.
Goodbye.
Oh, remember the weakest link? They just fell through the floor. Yes, they did.
I think that was a different.
No, they didn't.
That was a different game show.
No, that was the weakest link. It was definitely. She said you're the weakest link.
They just left. I don't think they. Well, no, maybe they did. I haven't seen it in a while.
Yeah, I think you're right, Matt.
I think they fell through the floor. That'll be the homework for next week. Anyway, there we are, friends. So that concludes everything that I had. Does anyone have closing?
You have a tiebreaker question? I'm just kidding.
What's that?
You have a tiebreaker question?
A tie? Okay. Well, ooh.
Well, we might as well.
Well, you know what? I actually did, but I got rid of it. Oh no! Here we go. Hold on. Let me pull up. The rankings. Okay. Tiebreaker. Tell me which movie came in 3rd.
Doom.
Yeah, Temple of Doom.
Crystal Skull.
Yes, it was Temple of Doom. So now tiebreaker.
Temple of Doom.
Running Highlands. There we go. Okay, so tiebreaker.
See you later. I don't think you have any very good fans over there, apparently, on your Instagram.
I know, right? Well, I only have like
your fans need to step it up. Oh yeah, 3 people. That's a lie.
No, 30.
Let's
it's
go.
30. Yes. Okay. Final tiebreaker question. Oh, all right. Here we are. Okay. There is an Indiana Jones attraction in Disneyland. We know this. We love this. But almost the identical attraction in terms of track layout exists in another theme park. Like, it is the exact same ride layout, but it's just themed differently. So there's no Indiana Jones theming, but ride vehicles are the same. Track is the same. What is that other ride?
Dinosaur.
Dinosaur.
Yeah. I was going to say dinosaur.
Walt Disney World.
I was going to say dinosaur.
Oh, no. Wait,
no, correct answer is dinosaur. You know what? Lauren has won like almost every other one, so we're going to give this one to Tpv Misc. You're our champion.
Yay!
Yeah, Mike answered first. Lauren loses.
You're the weakest link, Lauren.
I am the
boom.
What?
I did it.
I left. I stay.
Yay. Okay. So we have a new champion for this week. Thrilling. Well, yeah. So any closing thoughts on Raiders or on Indiana Jones in general before we wrap things up for tonight?
Now that I realize just how much details were in the first one, I want to see the others now just to see what I've missed before.
Do it. Watch the others. I know. Yeah, no, I want.
How many people remember that there was a TV show called Young Indiana Jones Chronicles?
Yeah.
Actually,
yeah.
My questions were going to involve that, but I wasn't sure it counted as canon, so I didn't go for that. But
yeah,
they had Young Indiana Jones. They had James Bond Jr. Like, they had a whole bunch of, like, they were just trying to make money. All they could.
James Bond Jr.
God,
yeah, name is Bond. James Bond Jr. Yeah.
That's so no.
It was cheesy.
Oh, that's hilarious. All right, so let's sign off, everyone. We'll do the usual. We'll go around. Tell us where we can find you on the internets. Tell us what we can look forward to seeing on your channel very shortly. And Mike had something to say. Go.
No, it's fine because it'd take us another 45 minutes to solve it. But how do we incorporate the Muppets into this movie?
Okay, that's going to be the next Indiana Jones Muppet. Muppets Indiana Jones.
Muppets Indiana Jones. There we go.
Like we've discussed this.
And the only human would be Harrison Ford.
No, Fozzie Bear is Indiana Jones.
And,
that's even better.
Miss Piggy is the lounge singer from the second movie from Temple of Doom.
Oh, there you go.
So who would be his little assistant?
It would be Rizzo or Pepe.
Mm-hmm.
No, it'd be Beaker.
Actually, yes.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, too funny.
Oh, okay. No, you're right. It's gonna take 45 minutes. That was good. But at some point, we will have a live stream where we just discuss making it Muppet. I've decided, Mike, that series is going to be called "Make It Muppet."
Yeah, make it Muppet. Yeah,
make it Muppet. Yeah.
Oh, that'll be fun.
If you do, I'm totally getting an official, not official Muppet, but I'll get a cool puppet to go along with it. You let me know.
Yes, please do. I always encourage puppets. Absolutely, 100%. Okay.
I got Stitchy back here, but I need a real one.
What? You have what?
I have a Stitchy puppet, but I need to get a real one.
You need to get a real one. Yeah, when I was in New York at FAO Schwartz, they had like a Make a Muppet section. It was kind of like building a droid, but you got to design your Muppet. And so they had all the different pieces. You got to pick like the Muppet eyes, the Muppet nose, the hair, the clothes. It was like $150, so I didn't do it. But one of my friends did. It was so.
I totally would have done it.
So much fun.
Wow.
I just watched Adam Salvage test it, and he just made a puppet at a one-day build. And he got a kit from a company that makes puppets, and he did a one-day build. It's really cool.
I love puppets. Oh wait, well, I have this.
I don't think that path is for a puppet.
Kind of a stretch there, Mike.
It was a very big stretch.
See, there you go. That's what I was looking for. Wonderful. Okay, with that, Mike, tell us who you are. Tell us about your channel. Tell us what we're going to see soon, and then I'm kicking you out. Go.
Yeah, I'm the weakest link. See you later, guys. My name is Mike. I'm from the Hyde Adventures. I know it's new to say, so it's going to take us a little bit of time to get used to it. We are exploring everything in Central Florida, from Disney to Universal to Legoland to our hometown out here in Lakeland. So keep an eye out on the channel. Tomorrow we got a video coming up of our stay at the Hilton Lake Buena Vista in Orlando. We're a really awesome hotel. We had a great time. It's a nice short video, so definitely should be able to get all the way through it. I think there's some other cool videos about what we're going around here in Lakeland. I got about 10 videos lined up with some really cool stuff we put together. We have a cool surprise that we had coming out on our way out to visit Disney last weekend. So keep an eye out. If you're not subscribed, click the like and the subscribe button at the Highland Adventures if you search that in YouTube. And you all have a wonderful night. Peace.
Meow.
Bye.
Bye. TPV Misc, same question.
You can find me on my YouTube, Theme Park Vets, and Tpv Misc, and the Instagram is Theme Park Vets, and you have a whole bunch of random videos coming out. That's what we do.
A whole lot of different stuff.
Fun. Thank you for joining us. There we go. Meow. And Lauren, same question.
All right. Well, you can reach us on YouTube at Castles, Capes, and Clones. Reach us on Twitter at CCC Disney Uni. On Instagram at Castles, Capes, and Clones. We're doing all kinds of things, like I said before, unboxings and hauls and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to be doing some vlogs when I go to Disneyland next month. I cannot wait for Avengers Campus. So that's coming down. So definitely subscribe to our channel and hit the bell for notifications so you can find out when we're there.
Amazing. Look forward to seeing the Disneyland stuff. So excited for you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lauren.
You.
We will
Bye.
see you. You're back. No, not next week. Casablanca week, yes?
Yes.
We will see you then.
Okay.
All right, friends. And once again, my name is Matt and I have 2 degrees. Thank you for watching us today for another great movie ride live stream. Our next stream is going to be in 2 weeks when we discuss Casablanca, because no one really should ever watch the 1930s Tarzan because it's long, it's boring, and it's really hard to find. But I'm still going to do a video about it anyway, so watch that when it happens. But in the meantime, my name is Matt and I have 2 degrees, and that's the Teacup for One. Go away. How do I end this?